All right, guys, important subject I want to cover here. At the end of this, you'll see a little clip that this kind of leads into, but I'm going to try to touch on this without rambling on too much. For those of you that know me, know that's kind of hard for me sometimes. So in the pet dog world, obviously, most of us deal with a lot of behavioral problems with everyday pet dogs. Two big reasons that contribute to that and make it so common. One is people tend to give puppies way too much freedom too soon, giving them too much freedom before they can handle it. So they spend a lot of time developing really bad habits, and then instead of developing the dog you want, you turn right into creating a dog you don't want, and you have to start fixing behavioral problems, right? Big mistake. And the other one is getting a dog, getting a breed that is way too much for that lifestyle, for the household, for the individuals, whether that has to do with an age thing, a physical capability thing, your lifestyle, your lack of activity, something, right? But people get a dog because it looks cool because they saw it on TV and movies, but they don't understand what goes along with that. So myself and many of you out there, you deal with people that decide to be pretty cool to get a working line German Shepherd or a really strong Rottweiler or Pit Bull or a Belgian Malinois or a high drive Australian cattle dog or Australian Shepherd. You understand? Dogs that require a lot of activity. Dogs that were bred to do a specific purpose, and you expect them to lay on your couch and be content from the time they're 8 weeks old until the day they die. It doesn't work that way, guys, all right? Today in the dog world, it's really nice to see that more and more people are starting to include play. Formal play is a big part of their program. That's important. That's a wonderful thing to see. People like Ivan Balabanov and Michael Ellis and J-Jack more recently, right, have really put it out there so people have access to good instruction, and they're starting to see the real benefits. The problem is the majority of people, dog trainers particularly, who are turning to play still don't have a good understanding of it, right? So, and the reason I'm talking about this and showing this is I do online consultations with professional dog trainers from all over the world 7 days a week, okay? So I know what's out there and where the problem lies, what's really common, what I deal with when it comes to professional dog trainers. And then through all the seminars, you're talking anywhere from 700 to 1,000 people a year, a lot of them professional dog trainers. You see where people struggle. You see where trainers struggle. So when you ask someone, okay, cool, you're getting into playing tug, your dog enjoys it. What is the purpose of it? What are you doing it for? You'll hear people say things like, well, I want to give that dog an outlet and wear him out, gets him tired, the more educated people in the dog world will say, well, the dog was bred to do something specific, so I'm trying to fulfill those needs. That's really good. I'm trying to build the bond, the relationship with my dog. Yeah, great. Those are all great reasons, right? And they're all valid, but it goes much deeper. It goes much deeper than that. So there's still trainers out there that don't understand turning to play, particularly tug, like really good competitive formal tug, as a way of dealing with behavioral problems, especially when it comes to dog aggression or human aggression. They don't understand the concept, and that's why they tend to shit on it, because they don't understand it, right? There's much more important things built into that play than what many people realize, okay? All the common answers that people give, they're valid, it's true. And think about it, if your dog was bred to do a specific job, if we don't get to give them an outlet that at least resembles that, chances are they're going to be very unfulfilled. And with a high energy, high drive dog, that leads to a lot of problems in itself, right? If we have a pit bull, pit bulls are bred to what? Fight dogs. Can we let them fight dogs? No, we can't, but we could give them something that maybe allows them to express who they are in a different way. We put that into a tug, or a lot of people in the pit bull sports, GRC in particular, that J-Jack started, they do a lot of spring pole work, right? Super important, super valid. The problem is, again, when people think of it, they just look at it as having a good time with your dog and having some fun. But again, it goes deeper, right? For me, think about it. Your whole communication system can be built into that play. All your markers, all your words, everything the dog needs to understand are built into that. We can get deep into markers here, but we won't. I've already done that before, but why they're so important. They allow the dog to know what state of being they should be in that moment in time, right? So if you have a strong ready marker, like for me and many people, if we're getting ready to do something, you say, you ready? The dog flies into action. And people understand, for the most part, like that marker lets the dog know, hey, we're about to do some cool stuff, and the dog gets fired up. But what they don't think about, right, if you could put that on a signal, on a cue, on a marker, on a word that allows the dog to know when they are to be fired up, it makes it that much easier for them to understand when they are not to be fired up. You understand? People don't think that way. But then in the game itself, we're setting rules and boundaries, and we're enforcing them. We're teaching the dog. What do I mean by that? Okay, so let's say you send me a dog for a board and train. I'm gonna keep it for a month, minimum, right? And let's say the big issue with that dog is he's super dog aggressive when on leash. You can't walk your dog, because if your dog sees a dog, he's gonna explode and go crazy, and you're going to turn and go the other way. First of all, if you can't walk your dog in a pleasurable way, in a productive way, don't walk your dog. Now, I understand there's people that live in condos and apartments or live in New York City. You have no choice. There's always exceptions, right? But if you don't have to, don't walk your dog. Work on the behavioral problems first, okay? So if your dog comes to me with those issues, your dog's not going to see a walk for at least 2 weeks, probably more like 3 weeks. But instead, every single day, like clockwork, first thing in the morning, we're going outside, and I'm going to focus on getting that dog to play a very competitive game that they live for with me. And in that game, I'm setting our whole communication system. All our markers, everything the dog needs to know will be built into that game, okay? And then I'm making very clear rules and boundaries that the dog needs to understand, okay? Every day I ask people, what's your reward marker? Almost everybody says yes. Okay, how did you teach yes? Well, I sat there with food in my hand and I said yes, and then I feed. Yes, feed, yes, feed, yes, feed. They understand for the most part, even though not everyone does it properly, they understand that somehow you have to make that word that comes out of your mouth very powerful. It has to have meaning. It has to become reflexive to the dog, that when they hear you say yes, they don't think about it, they just come flying, because that always indicates that something good is coming their way. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And I'm going through this fast to try to cut this a little shorter because it's already too long. And then I ask people, what's your no marker? Almost everyone says no. And I say, okay, how did you teach it? And then you get a lot of silence. Well, when he does something I don't like, I just say no. And people think the dog knows what that means. They understand what that means, right? They don't know the word. They don't speak words. They don't speak our language. So anything that comes out of your mouth is just a noise to them. The only way they could start to understand what that noise truly means is what consistently follows that noise, that sound that comes out of your mouth. So yes, feed, yes, feed, yes, feed, yes, ball, yes, tug. Yes becomes powerful, but yet no one teaches no. Again, in that game, we're teaching rules and boundaries. Okay, we're playing tug. I watch people play. They're playing. They ask their dog to out or to let go what's in their mouth. For those who don't know what that means, the dog lets go what's in their mouth, and then they're standing there with the tug between them and the dog, and the dog goes to grab it again without permission, right? Almost everyone universally says something like, and they pull the tug away and hold it up high or hide it behind their back. That's insanity. You're literally telling the dog one thing and doing another. When in reality, I want that mistake. I want that dog to break the rules so I could teach them no without getting mad or upset, and then either tap them in the nose, give them a couple little leash pops. Doesn't have to be forceful or hard, but we're attaching something to that no so they start to understand, right? Then when they back off, you can say, nice job. That's what I'm looking for. You're always giving feedback, you understand? And we can go much deeper than that. But it's important that we build that language and that understanding and that trust in that game. So this way, for the first time, and I've talked about this so much, but it goes right over people's heads because they only see and hear what they want to. And then when I finally take that dog out and we encounter dogs, one of two things happens always, right? I shouldn't say always, almost always, because people have issues with that. When that dog sees a dog, one of two things happens. Either the behavior is not there, or it's very mild, and when you say, hey, knock it off, the dog goes, oh, okay, I get it. Because we already have that built in together from what we did before we put the dog in that situation. But instead, the majority of dog trainers, and it's unfortunate, but it is the majority, oh, you have a dog that has dog aggression? We got to deal with this right now. I'm going to show you how to do that, right? The dog gets muzzled. The e-collar goes on, gets cranked up. The dog shows the behavior right from the start, frying the dog or pulling his head off with the prong collar or nailing him with the cattle prod. Yes, people actually do that, and it's common. It's actually common. And then you see the dog in that same situation around dogs, and he's not trying to attack the dog or attack the human, but he's just laying there like a zombie. And people go, oh, wow, amazing. Amazing? There's nothing amazing about that. I know exactly how you got that. What would be amazing if you show the owner of the dog, the regular handler in that situation, and the dog's not only avoiding the bad behavior, but he's relaxed and he could look and be happy and it doesn't faze him. So we have to change the mindset of the dog. You understand? We have to change that. We can't just have them avoiding the aversive. Is it bad that they want to avoid the aversive? No, but we have to take it further if we're truly going to make lifelong changing results on the dog. Otherwise, that shit's temporary, all right? But what do you do when you're outmatched by a dog? You know, if your dog did start off by having too much freedom as a puppy, and remember, you're not raising a puppy, you're raising a dog. So the cute shit that you allow when it's a cute little puppy, that's not going to be cute when it's a 100-pound dog, a 90-pound dog, a powerful breed, you understand? So we start that education from day one, the day we take that puppy home. But again, you couple that with having a dog that's too physically intense or strong for the humans, for the owners. How do you physically interact with that dog? How do you play tug? A lot of people can't, right? So in this little short clip here, what I started doing with a lot of people, and I just got the idea because I spend a lot of time working with J-Jack, and he's the creator of GRC, and spring pole work is a big part of his life, right? So if I can get my clients to build a spring pole or buy one of the portable spring poles, then I do that, but not everyone has room or the ability to do that. So I started buying these Tether tugs. I'm not affiliated with them. I don't get paid. I don't get a percentage or nothing, but it's something that I bought for Rhodey. You know Rhodey, the little feisty Rottweiler that's always with me. She's a super intense dog, very powerful, very driven. And if she doesn't get to bite shit and play tug every day, she struggles. And she's a really intense dog. That leads to problems, right? But her owners can't play with her the way I do. Most owners wouldn't be able to. She's a very physical dog. I'm a pretty big, physical, strong guy, and she wears my ass out, right? So I bought a Tether tug so I could start working with her, with me, teaching her how to utilize that, and then we could start playing different games and upping the level of obedience incorporated with it. But this gives her owners and all the owners out there with stronger working like type dogs to be able to do this activity with their dogs, okay? Because a dog like Rhodey, and like a lot of my clients' dogs, if they don't get this type of interaction, they create problems. They go crazy, and that leads to bad behavior that gets out of control. And I'm saying that because I literally deal with it every day. So I always have to come up, okay, if someone has too much dog for themselves, you could tell them you shouldn't have this dog. It's too much. He's way too strong. He's too intense. He's too driven. He should be on the sport field or something, right? It doesn't help because they're not going to get rid of their dog. So we always have to think realistically. Let's make do the best we can. Okay, this is going to be our plan. And so this next little apparatus, this tool that I started using, it's made a big difference for a lot of people. So just here's a short clip of me starting to get Rhodey using the tether tug. So this is something that her family or anyone with a really strong, intense dog will be able to utilize and get that game of tug, but also start teaching that communication, the language, and enforcing rules and boundaries where you don't have to be so physical. Sorry, it went way longer than I expected, but I talk a lot because I want people to grasp this, okay? If you're still not incorporating productive, competitive play with an objective into your program, then you're not getting the results that you're capable of getting. Believe me when I tell you. But again, so many people shit on it, they just don't understand it. All right, so here's a quick clip. Take a look and you see how much she enjoys it. Is it as good as playing one-on-one tug with me? No. But not everyone's going to be able to do that with a dog like her or a lot of the dogs out there. So here, check it out and go get yourself one and let me know what you think. Get it. Atta girl. Good girl, Rhodey. Get that shit, mama. Atta girl. Out. Out. Down. Get it. Out. Out. Come. Over here. Right here. Down. Yeah. Good girl, mama. That was me stepping on her foot. But she didn't let go, so that's good. My bad, mama. Get it. Good. Out. No. Hey. Yeah. Out. Come. Get it. Good. Girl, Rhodey. Atta girl, mama. Atta girl. Keep it going. Atta girl, Rhodey. Out. Get it.